UFC NOCHE, and we've got fights to break down. Of course, I am JSU here, bringing you this MMA breakdown on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. And I got a special guest, someone I've known for a while, talked with a little bit. It's been years, though. His name's Mike Brown. You might know him on Twitter, H3 Buddha. I think I got that right. Did I get that right, Mike?
Absolutely, yeah. I always wanted an H3 Hummer, and I was staring at a Buddha when I made my name. Everybody has a weird lore about where they get their name, right? Yours is easy. Yours is like, come on, dude.
Yeah, mine's the obvious one ever. It's the first initial and then the last name starter. So it's simple. But yeah, I didn't know, honestly. I was like, I wonder how he got his name, but that now makes sense. I got you.
We all have a different lore about our names. It's funny. You see those people that actually use their names. They're the only people that can change their names. Like the DraftKings and all these sites will allow them to do it because of privacy. You know, they're doxing themselves, but you know,
right.
Let's get to the fights, man. UFC NOCHE. Last year, what did we have? We had the backdrop of the Sphere. Now they're like, oh, we're going to have it down in Mexico. Don't exactly remember why they moved it up here into San Antonio, but listen, you got 14 fights, fun slate to break down. But top to bottom, there's not a lot of name value. I don't know about what you think when it comes to like the names, but the fights, you could push 700 on fantasy this week alone. Like there could be 700 scores.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think what they were trying to do, you know, I agree with you. There's not a lot of like huge name value per se, but I think they've got two of the more exciting fighters in the whole UFC on the main event, right? So they have that. And normally when they have up and comers like that, the rising stars, the young guys, they can kind of, you know, I'm not saying they don't need as much, I guess, star power through the card or known star power. They have some vets, you know, Rob Font's on this card. I feel like he just keeps getting all these like young guys now. He's like he's starting to be the gatekeeper and doing pretty well at it. I'm a big Rob Font guy though, so I might be a little biased, but you know, there's a few guys on this card. Then there's some guys kind of probably fading out that we'll get to, but overall, I'm excited because whenever there's fights on, I'm not arguing, okay? Because there's nothing worse than Saturdays without UFC. When you go through like card after card after card, and then you get that one Saturday without UFC, we're all just sitting in the chat like this is the worst ever. So I'll take fights anytime I can get it. And I agree with you. There's probably going to be some violence on this card, I think. So that's always a good thing when there's some violence, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I always say I've almost coined it at this stage, ugly women's MMA. I mean, we have a debuting women's fighter. Tell me that's not a fight that absolutely becomes of interest. And one of the greatest fantasy scores of all time in a women's fight as well, and Tatiana Suarez. I mean, there's layers. What is your process when you first look at a card? Because, like, I can tell you exactly right away what I look at. I look at the different layers of the card, right? You have grapplers, you have heavy-handed fighters, you have a mid-range on this particular slate that is so juicy. Like we've had middle range where you can be like, okay, there's a fight you can kind of X off right away, but there's a juicy mid-range. There's leverage plays. I'd say there's 3 amazing leverage plays, but I don't know if I want to go to the leverage plays because that middle range is so damn good.
Well, the problem, though, is everyone wants the middle range. And I've talked about this a ton on shows, and it makes sense, but everyone's terrified to take the boom bust plays at the bottom, right? The guys that or girls that could literally get you 0 or they could smash, right? And the in-between is just disgusting. The floor is disgusting. But in tournaments, sometimes you just have to kind of hold your nose and take a shot. And I think that's the issue on this card is, can I get away in some builds from the mid-tier and just hold my nose and take some shots on some dogs? And I think we'll get into it, but I think we'll be able to do that on this card. If you guys could, before we get into the breakdowns, smash the like button on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, click that subscribe button, get notified every time we go live for these free shows. All right, Mike, let's get into the first fight here on the card. We got Donchenko, 8,800 on DraftKings versus Rodrigo Sezinando, 7,400 on DK. And I won't lie, I was pretty surprised by the line on this fight. I thought it was a little wide personally, just looking at these two fighters. Donchenko, definitely the more refined striker. Sezinando, more of a grappler. And I would say on the feet, he's a little more wild, not as refined of a striker. So I think you got a big gap on the feet for Donchenko, and Sezinando is a black belt, a high-level grappler. So when he gets you down, if he does get you down, he is very good. He's got very good control. He has nice ground and pound. He mixes it up too. It's just not all hunting submissions. Some grapplers, they just control and they hunt for submissions. He'll mix it up. He'll throw heavy shots in there to kind of soften you up. It's not just constantly searching for the neck or the arm. So I do like that he's not just all one-sided. But the problem with him is, does he have the wrestling to get to his grappling? That's the question mark for me. I'm not sure, but I'm willing to take some shots here in DFS. I think he's a perfect boom bust type of underdog. And I think this fight finishes inside the distance. I think there could be violence in this fight. There could be a brawl at some point because it's kind of the way Rodrigo gets to his grappling. He is hittable in that sense. But either way, I see a finish in this fight. And I want to be over specifically on the dog in DFS. And I'm going to take some sprinkles on him at whatever he is right now. Is he 2-1 right now as an underdog?
He's still sitting.
Yeah.
The line, there's definitely movement coming towards him. And it's one of those situations where you see only his name on Twitter and the movement isn't following it. And you're like, well, somebody's holding this steady. And this is a weird one because this is where you dial that variance up 150%. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's the Ultimate Fighter. The winner of this fight gets a contract in the UFC. The big thing about it is, what did we see in this same exact season? Do you remember what happened? This fight actually got canceled the August 16th.
Yeah. It was like a few weeks ago, right? He was supposed to fight.
Yeah, it was like, remember the other one, the flyweight on the same Ultimate Fighter season, the Albibi, like 5-1 favorite. And, you got a Kazaki who's going to go in there and get his takedowns and be very nice. No, he didn't show up. Like it was one of these weird situations. I think there's multiple dynamics. If this is a smaller octagon too, it probably helps these two guys to score a tremendous amount. The pace I worry about down the stretch in this particular fight, but you're buying into this first round equity. You really kind of nailed it, right? That wildness. If they go after it right away, which they should, right? They're trying to get a UFC contract. There's a lot to be had here. -115 inside the distance for Donchenko. And we have a surprising +300, +350 inside the distance line for Sezinando. That's a leverage right away. You nailed it. I think there's one way to play this. It would have to be Sezinando, whatever the hell. You'll learn. I got that Boston mouth on me. I can't pronounce shit.
That's the one thing with me and Mike is we're both from the same area. Mike's from Boston. I'm from Worcester, but both from Massachusetts. So we both have our own little, he's got the Boston accent. I got the Worcester accent, but it's the same thing. We've got that. Mike, I also will screw up like half the names on this card. I don't even know how I got Sezinando's name right personally. So you'll notice that. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you too, the deeper this fight goes, it really should swing towards him with that potential wrestling that doesn't exist, but at least the jiu-jitsu to maybe pull guard, reverse. So there's some sneaky, 5-point takedown upsides. Prop markets, that's tough. This is one of those fights, like I said, you take that barometer and you dial it up. There's a wide range of outcomes, right? When you're looking to break down fights, or at least myself, I look at the range of outcomes. Sezinando submission is probably one of the bigger numbers out there, I would imagine.
It's +700 on DK right now.
That line doesn't make sense, but they think he's going to get knocked out in the first round. That's helping the number, correct? So when you look at Donchenko inside the distance, it's a very clear path. Like what happens if Sezinando just goes forward and gets caught? That's in the realm of possibility for damn sure. You're muted.
I think that's how they see this fight going. It is Sezinando kind of comes forward with his style of pressure, and he either gets dropped or he can get to his grappling. And if he can get to his grappling, I think that's where he has a shot. So, and I agree with you. Like, you remember that fight where the 5-1 favorite just got whooped, and everyone was like, and I talked about it on this show. I was like, that's a perfect dog, because he has. Whenever I know that my dog fighter at least has an edge in one area, and in that fight it was a little different because he ended up having an edge in all areas.
Everywhere.
No one knew that coming in, but if I think my dog has at least one edge in one of the areas, I feel way more comfortable about it. It's when I feel like the dog just has no edges where I'm like, how can I take this dog? And at least I know Sezinando has one edge in an area.
Yeah, I mean, look at the ownership, or at least my own ownership internally. We're looking at almost pushing 40% for Donchenko. You know, he's got the same inside the distance line as virtually you know, some of these middle range. There's a lot of these fighters that are like -120 to +150 that are like all in this bag of, if they win in the first round, distinctly the first round, they're going to pay off. They're going to look like $1 million. But when you look at the ownership on the other side, 11%, 10, 11, maybe 15, push 15%, probably higher dollar or single entry. Maybe people take a shot on Sezinando. I know you guys love the pick six. I do too. There's certain things that I really like to target. You'll be able to kind of gather. I love taking unders on significant strikes and fantasy points. I think DraftKings is pretty much one of the only ones that allows you to do fantasy points on the underdog. Major edge. I would like have kept it so close to chest, because when you see these fighters come out hot and just get grounded, it's like, how are you going to score points from your back, JC?
That's right. That's right.
Like, you can't do it.
And I think you brought up, and I pulled it up here, I like 2 pick sixes in this fight. I think you can go with the Sezinando control time, 1.5 minutes. If he gets him down once, I feel like 1.5 minutes could be easy if he gets him down just one time. I think he gets 1.5 minutes just in that one takedown, if he can get one. And I think the less than on significant strikes is also a good play in this one. I don't know if we'll make it one of our 6. We'll come back to it, but I like both of those. Do you see any you like here?
The problem for me is the variance. Remember, I've been saying it time and time again. You're dialing it up here. We've got 2 commodities that we should know about, but I got to be honest. Do you even watch it? I got to put you on the spot. Do you watch Ultimate Fighter?
I do.
Oh, you're like the last one that watches it. No.
I'm not gonna lie though. I've been watching the Ultimate Fighter for like I've always watched it. So it's something like I've just always watched it. So yes, I admittedly will say I watch it, but I get it. Not many people watch it anymore.
Yeah. What's the volume like from Donchenko? Is it just trying to look for that one hitter quitter?
No, he's solid, and he's solid when what worries me, but what I like about him is when he gets in the pocket, he's really good, and he throws elbows. He's also got good low kicks. He's dangerous. He's definitely dangerous, and the way Sezinando comes forward, he could get caught. That's all I'm going to say. Like, in the pocket, he could easily get caught. I've watched him get stunned in like the first 30 seconds of a low-level fight against a low-level fighter. So I know he can be caught. So yeah, but that's why though, I think the less than is interesting. But we got Big T in the chat says gonna roll, boys. Big T, you got to like that control time, I think, of over 130. If you think he rolls, I think you got to like that.
He's probably looking at that juicy number too. I mean, plus 200. I mean,
he's definitely looking at that number for sure. I'm going to look at that number. I'm betting it for sure.
What does DraftKings do that other books don't do? The plus 3.5s. I mean,
yeah, the plus 3.5. Yep.
You win one round, and have you ever had a bet like that? And you're just sitting there praying, like, buddy, please survive. I've already won my bet.
Oh yeah,
just survive. Don't 10-8. Don't just roll.
The problem though is some of these like this fight. I think the fight goes under. I think the fight finishes, so I can't touch it. But
I'm just saying, like in general, it's like it's another way to kind of slice up the pie, of ways to bet a fight. You can't do it necessarily here, but imagine if they got like really crazy with that market, and they did it like round by round. Like they don't offer like fighter to win in round 1, round 2, round 3, which other books do. So we probably got to ask them to add that. You know what I'm saying? Like specifically on the cards.
I forgot about this. If Mass won't let you pick Russian fighters, they should give you a bonus for picking Ukraine fighters. I think it's so dumb though that there's certain fighters that we might not be able to bet on because we're in Massachusetts. Like it's the dumbest thing ever. It's similar to like I can bet college football, but I can't play college football DFS. Like it just makes no sense. Some of the rules are absolutely stupid.
But then we have Rob Font, right? We'll talk about him later. Our boy up here, and it's like, what do we do? We'll just give him a call. Hey, don't throw him any strikes. No.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right, let's go to the next fight. Woman's fight. You brought it up, so I'm going to let you break this down first. But Alice Pereira minus 155 on DK Sportsbook versus Montserrat Rendon plus 130 on DK, and on DraftKings right now, Rendon is 7,600, Pereira 8,600. Mike, what are you seeing with this fight?
Ugly women's MMA. It's my thing, man. I mean, Alice Pereira, not Aileen or Aline or whatever the hell her name is. This is not Alex Pereira's sister.
Yes. I had to look this up too because they have very similar first names. It's Alice, Aline, and I looked at it and just quick glance before I dove into the fighting, I was like, wait, is that Pereira's sister? And then I was like, no, it doesn't sound right, but it's really close. Let me look it up. And then I was like, oh, wow, it's very close.
It is so close. And, you know, I'm almost happy that it's not, because that fight's going to be like wild when the betting markets do hit. But we have the youngest female in UFC here, 19 years old, coming in, striker at heart, shocker striker on a Mexican Noche card, but she is Brazilian. She has no competition. Let's just say how it is. She's faced absolute nobodies. She's rolling through all these fighters. The UFC tends to know what they're doing. Montserrat Rendon, very, very old, long in the tooth, but does everything. I look at this fight as, can Rendon get to the clinch? If she gets to that clinch, there's a world where takedowns are a thing, and it kills all of the upside for Pereira. But, I mean, you're going to be looking at Pereira at super low ownership, potentially higher volume striking, because I think the speed on the feet is going to be so big. You see a lot of people right this week getting behind Rendon because of the grappling, because of the veteran. Like, she's made the walk. But they need stars. They need a fighter like Pereira here. I don't have confidence that she's going to stop takedowns, so I think that the fantasy upside from my DFS standpoint is very limited in this fight. But when they do hit a ceiling and she gets that first round knockout against a lady that's been in there, you know, she's actually, you know what? Rendon's been getting UFC wins. Can you believe that? Like, what world do we live in that like Rendon is rolling wins off? Like,
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, she's not good, but no. I feel like her style could be a style that annoys Pereira, right? Because like you said, she's pretty good at when she's at range, figuring out when to get inside and when to get back. Now, if she just stays at range, she's going to get pieced up on the feet because she's not as good on the feet. But if it's all about getting to the clinch, like you said, I feel like she does a pretty decent job of, you know, figuring out when she needs to get inside, get to the clinch, and then from there work her takedowns. And we don't really know like how good Pereira is when that's happening with a UFC level fighter, because she's only had 5 fights. She's only 19. Rendon's got probably a little bit more like a, you know, grown woman strength than Pereira here at age 19. Yeah, 17-year difference.
This has to be one of the larger ones that we've had in a while. I remember there was near 20 years on this year somewhere.
What was Raul Rosas when he got into the UFC? Was he 20 or 19?
He was 17. In the Contender Series, he was 17, straight up 17, a baby.
That's crazy.
And grew up in the UFC. So if you remember, like the prospect-wise, it was Macy Barber was always the one that was like, I'm going to be the youngest champion. I'm going to do this. let's get back to this. Is just so
Then she
ugly.
bowed out against my girl Erin Blanchfield, which I'm still mad about.
They
But,
did book.
yeah,
They booked her. They booked Macy Barber, by the way.
I
That's
saw
for
that.
another day. I don't even want to get into that. This is ugly. Ownership should be low on this fight. I'm interested due to the lower ownership. I'm seeing 15% ownership for Pereira on my own, and Rendon about 15%. People, the ownership's even saying it there. If this fight, gets extended, maybe Rendon gets that clinch and control time. Look at the pick 6. They're saying 2.5 minutes of control. That's very sharp. That's a very sharp number, because either she gets knocked out early, or she's going to get to that clinch, hold the body, roll around the cage, maybe get a takedown, get top control. This is another one. You dial the variance up. You said it right away. Pereira, unknown. She could be $1 million. I'll tell you, I saw her kicking pads with what's the dumb influencer there? Sorry, not dumb. She's the one that does
Nina?
all the Nina. Oh yeah. She's kicking pads with Nina, and I'm like, oh no. But you know what? Hey, she gets behind the proper people, so it's like the UFC clearly want her to roll. And
listen, I love Nina. Maybe for a little different reasons, but that's okay. You know what I mean? That's all right. I love Nina though. Nina, I love you. All right, you're great.
She would call herself dumb, I'm sure, but
yeah.
Anywho, I do think that this is an important fight. Probably the lowest ownership on the whole entire slate.
Yeah,
you can't confidently get behind somebody.
I will say is Rendon just always seems to fight in close. Like, she's never been, finished. You know what I mean? So say what you want, and she doesn't have a lot of fights either. She only has 7 fights on her record, but she does seem to fight in a lot of split decisions or just little closer fights in general. And I think that's what this is. And if you tell me that the young kid wins a split decision, okay, but is she getting there in that scenario? I don't think so, because I think that means Rendon had almost a round and a half of kind of either controlling her on the ground or against the fence, against the cage. You know what I mean? So if that happens, that's limiting your production right there for fantasy. That's limiting the amount of strikes if she's holding her up against the cage, if she's getting her on her back, if she's making her work in the grappling exchanges. So that's the one thing I would say with this fight. So I'm dog or pass here. I don't think I'm going to play any Pereira, but I get the ownership and going that
Look
route.
At Pereira's control time. It's the same exact as Rendon, and you know why it is? It's because if this fight, the variance is like, what happens if Rendon goes for takedowns and gasses out? Then Pereira is on top. That's the trap. Yes. That's almost a trap line right there, because I'm looking at it, staring at it, going, I want to pull that trigger on the minus. But even in the clinch, you see how many times they flip each other over. That's sneaky control time. There's a few scoring criteria that people don't realize exist. And I'm not sure if you've dug in on other shows, but that clinch control against the cage, and you're doing these little, I call it pitter patter.
Yeah.
You are blowing your score up for a beautiful score on DraftKings when that happens.
Especially females MMA, because they also get significant strikes they're a little more questionable, I will say. But that makes it better for DFS. So like you said, there's some reasons maybe to take some shots more on Pereira. Do you see anything pick 6 wise, or do you think this is more of a fade pick 6?
I promise I will have some pick 6 plays. The problem is when the variance goes up,
if you don't have a pick, just say I'm out on this fight.
There's no pick. I like that. I told you that 2.5 for the under on the Pereira. If I knew she was coming out to ice her and kill Rendon quick, of course. But
they just don't have the under on the control, unfortunately. The less than strikes would be nice though. But I agree with you. I think it's a fight we could stay away from. Let's go to the next one here. Alessandro Costa versus Aldin Coria, however you say his name, plus 260 for Coria, Costa minus 325 on DK Sportsbook. And I'm pretty sure he's the highest salary DK fighter on the card at 9,500 Costa, and Coria is 6,700, one of the lowest or the lowest fighter on the card. here. When I look at this, I think this fight is a mismatch. I think Costa is probably better everywhere in this fight, but I do think that Coria does have, a decent game on the feet. I think he's got decent combos in the boxing. But the one thing I noticed watching his fights, Mike, is when he exchanges, he pulls straight back and that chin is right up and he's very hittable. So if you can throw straight down the center with a good 1-2 off a counter, you're going to catch his chin easy. Like it's going to be easy game. And he gets hit against lesser fighters than Costa. He gets hit a good amount from what I watched of his fights. So he's someone that in DFS, just because he's so cheap, I think you can take stabs on. But
Yep.
I feel like Costa is going to win this thing, and I think he's probably going to win it violently.
Well, Costa is one of those situations that he's already been a 500 fighter in the UFC slowly here. And he's beating just the lowest barrel of competition. I mean, Jimmy Flick, I X that fight out. I don't even think of that. Jimmy Flick doesn't exist when it comes to evaluating fights. No offense. He can just get starched. Kevin Borjas, okay. Peruvian guy, durability. So I think that's probably his best win, clearly, because, you're killing off a guy that's really not been finished. But, the Steve Ursog fight and Amir Albazi, it looked like there was a glaring issue with takedowns. He was taken down each time in those fights. I don't see Pereira as well going for takedowns.
Nope.
But this is a late notice fight. Like, that's the concern for me. And when I look at the late notice spot, you're going lower ownership for the highest priced guy in Costa. Very low ownership compared to those 9K fighters. What happens if this dude gasses out Pereira? Because I do think he's got fantasy out in that first round upside. I do think that if I'm taking punts, there's some builds. There's 2 fighters that I'm going to be targeting just to kind of make a weird build, right? To try to get different. And I don't think they're going to win. I'm going to say it right away. Pereira is one of them because it's like I like betting into the unknown. If I'm playing a $15, $20, what is it, the big GPP this week, I don't mind burning it. Let me burn it. But I know what I'm signing up for right away. I know that it's likely going to lose, but that upside for 6,700 is just huge. And I'm not calling the win. I think it probably is not relevant for fantasy just due to that the second round early finish is not going to get you there. You'd almost want a deep second round finish for Costa, right? Like get those extra points. I don't know. The significant strike market is tight there on pick 6, man. Look at that. 38.5, 44.5. Grappling.
I mean, that's kind of tell you they won't give you the less than on Coria. And they got a pretty low number for Costa. It's kind of telling you like they like him early probably, or they're baiting you into that less than. And like you said, it goes deeper into that second round, maybe the third round, where he could still get over this number. But like I said, this dude's very hittable. So like if he's throwing, he's going to get over this number if this thing goes longer than expected. Like what's the over under on this fight? Is it 2.5 or 1.5?
I was just going to look here for you. I got it.
It's
open.
-115, over under 2.5. So both sides -115.
Flip a coin. And the thing is, Costa does have volume striking over the UFC, output 4.5, basically significant strikes per minute, absorbing a lot of damage. That's one of the concerns, right? Like absorbing 3.5 significant strikes per minute. So I think we're both seeing the same thing. And you know what? I have a book of Buddha-isms. I like fighters with better inside the distance lines as underdogs. Like say, there might be on this slate in that middle range an underdog that has a better inside the distance line than the favorite. And I like targeting the lower weight classes when they do expect to go to a decision because there's constant action. Those fantasy points are going to book up. When they win, those win points obviously are going to mean something. Problem is, what do we have? 14 fights. It's like, we know what we're signing up for. It's a little crazy, but
I like that. Now I'm learning. You got a book of Buddha-isms. I expect to, have this book kind of slowly read out to me as we break down these fights. But
the next fight is going to be pretty easy to to get a booterism from.
Which is
I mean,
the next fight.
Do you think?
That's an easy one.
Does he make it to the fight? Do you think he's got his ankle monitor cut off? Like, do you think a probation officer is going to come and take it off before the fight? What's going to happen?
Honestly, I kind of hope he doesn't, and they keep the ankle monitor on, and he just has to stay home with his $14 or whatever he has in his bank account. Like, the people like, oh, that sucks. Like, nah, dude, he has $14 in his bank account for a reason. Like, that dude is a piece of shit. But whatever, we'll get to that fight here. I think the more we talk about this, though, and looking at the over-under on this line, like, I might like the more on significant strikes. If you made me pick one, I think I'd like the Costa more here because, like you said, he does have the volume. This dude's hittable. That would be where I'd lean from a pick six side. But let's get to this next fight you touched on. Zachary Reese. Reese minus 225 versus Cedricus Dumas. I'm not gonna lie, I call him dumbass. That's the way. That's his nickname for me. But you can call him what you want. This dude's a plus 185 underdog though here against Zachary Reese, which to me, I feel like that just says everything you need to know about this fight because I don't view Zachary Reese as anything special. I think he's a okay at best UFC fighter, but he makes some dumbass mistakes in the cage too. And you can go through a lot of his fights and you can, I mean, some of them like the power bomb slam and whatever, like some of them, I guess you can throw out, but like, he's not like the smartest fighter in the cage either, but I just think Cedricus, he's one of those fighters that he's just a brawler who tried to learn how to be like a mixed martial artist, but he just does a little of everything, but he's not amazing at any of those things or good at any of those things. He's just okay at all of the things. And I think Zachary Reese just edges him out in just about everything in the cage. So, I mean, I got to go with Reese. I think that the interesting thing, though, here is the under 1.5 is minus 145. And we got two guys that are kind of unreliable. I kind of like the sneak for me is the over. I think the over's interesting. I think Zachary Reese to win by decision at plus 650
Love that.
Is kind of insane.
Love that price. I mean,
yeah.
Don't spoil my breakdown because think about that. The deeper this fight goes, he's got takedowns. He's got more tools to win this fight. My problem is, how did Cedricus get into the UFC? Do you remember? Just without looking at it. Don't look at what it was.
No, I can't remember. I can't remember.
It was a guillotine choke. If Cedricus gets a sub here, I'm gonna just start crying. We're all gonna start crying. And
he's not getting a sub. Don't start speaking that shit into the ecosystem.
No. What I'm saying is, it's there. If Reese is dumb, like he sometimes does, shoot crazy or get into a brawl with a brawler, it's there. I'm not calling it. I'm putting it on the table. It's possibility. I agree with you. This is a spot where Reese is the A side. Some could say A++ side, against the enhancement talent in Dumas. But I talked about 3 fighters that could be leveraged. How can you not get better leverage than this spot? 45. He's going to, what is he, a first click? I mean, he's a minus 200 inside the distance. It matches his basic money line. You and I both see that he's got more tools down the stretch. I love that call by the decision. Pair that up with same game parlay with significant strikes and maybe even takedown. You want a big number, right? You put in takedowns too. Don't get greedy. I'm just saying a little sprinkle.
You just said to take a plus 650 decision and then pair it with takedowns and maybe significant strikes, and then you go, but don't get greedy here, people. Don't get greedy.
We're not greedy. We like big numbers. You want equity, but here's the thing.
I was thinking pair the 650 with the Sezinando plus 700 submission, and now we're rolling right there. That's what I was thinking.
I'm a round robin guy. Mitigate the risk a little. Sorry, but
I always place one round robin like each week, just like crazy stuff. But these are the type of things. These are the type of things I love to throw in there, like a Zachary Reese plus 650. But I agree with you. Is leverage.
Will you have him as leverage at 10% owned compared to that massive, probably pushing 50% owned Reese? It's the thing is, like, if you're not doing that, where else do you like? How are you going to be unique on this slate? Because I feel like
I
there's some
think I
very
have
obvious first pick.
exactly 10%
That's
of
beautiful.
Duma. I think I have exactly 10% from what I'm looking at. And I honestly, this is against everything because I don't want to have, I want to have 0%. I want to throw them out of my pool. But like you said, I'm trying to be better at just not fading a billion fighters. You know what I mean? And especially some of the fighters, like you said, that are massive leverage points on the slate. He is one of them. And it doesn't take me a lot to get to the field with him. So those are fighters in the past, Mike, where I've just tried, I would just like throw out of my pool. And I'm trying to not do that with some of these fighters.
Let's look at the stats wise. Dumbass has a 2.1 significant strike output and absorbing 2.5 significant strikes. You cannot be a successful UFC fighter having a negative differential in significant strikes. How fast do we see these fighters burn out? I mean, you will see fighters that have a negative differential that will look like $1 million. They'll have a bunch of first round equity. But what's happening is they're giving up so many points on the back end of the fight for fantasy because they gas out. They just aren't there. They're there to be hit. I like targeting fighters like this. The thing is, he's not overseas. Remember, he had the he was in Saudi Arabia, one of these fights. He was like trying to like get in with them. Like he was like, I'm one of you, and they're all like, nobody, no. we don't want you. I think it was the
get out of here.
Tolulian fight. Remember Dennis Tolulian?
Oh, yes, Dennis Tolulian. Yeah.
Oh, man. But I mean, he doesn't have the takedown upside. He's gone for takedowns before. Yeah, Reese should roll here. We love these props. I like it just like you do. Decision. That 22.5 significant strikes. I think he could get 22.5 significant strikes in the first round. Could you agree with that? Because think of it.
And I like fight time more than 5.5 minutes. Like, both those are really good.
I mean, it's volatile. That's a bold pick there. We all think it's going to end early, but like, hey, this guy needs $17 more in his bank account, you know, like.
And even if it did end early, he could somehow still get over the 22.5 number, like you said, because it could be just he hurts them, but it's just a volume of strikes where they go all out.
You want Herb Dean. Herb Dean's sitting there. He does his little run over. Remember?
We need to know who's reffing these fights. We need to know who's reffing these fights. If it's Herb Dean, I'm on the over on these significant strikes for sure.
Because
if he's reffing this.
What are you thinking? Herzog, one hit. Cedricus goes down and Reese is over him, ready to go, and he pulls his arm back. Hey, last week, I'm gonna vent for 1 second. I got to vent. There was a fight where I'm sure you watched the fights. I can't remember. Help me out here. One of the knockdowns, didn't get scored because the ref ran in and held the fighter against the cage.
Dude,
so say this is the cage.
That happens all the time.
That
happens all the time.
So we're missing 10 fantasy points because the ref held the fighter up from going down. I was devastated last week. I was like, I need it.
You know what, though? I think some of these refs, I don't know if they're being talked to, but after like the last a few weeks before that, where there were some very questionable, like lengthy, like where the fight wouldn't get stopped for a while when it looked like the fighter was already pretty much dead, and they let him keep striking him for like 30 more seconds after they should have stopped the fight. I think maybe someone's getting to some of these guys and saying like, we don't want that. You need to get in there. If they look like they're turtling up or about to fall and you can save them from like falling on their head or something, go do it. Because I don't know why, but those are like the best things when they like fall over and stuff. We get knocked down.
The instinct, they're always going to get up. They're taught in the gym. You're down, spring up. It doesn't matter where your brain is. Just get the body to remember to get up. That's 10 points. But there was one just obvious situation we were going to get. Thank you, Beast. Yes. I appreciate that. Yeah, McKee. It was like, we just got robbed of 10 extra points. I'm like, that can decide an entire slate. Back to this one. Yes, I'm on the Reese side. I like that you're matching the 10%, dumbass. At least you know that 10%. That 10% is probably gone. You might as well
it's dead. It's dead, but that's all right. That's all right. It's only It's not a ton of lineups, like you said. It's okay to get to the field with someone like him.
Where
Let's
do
go
we go
to
next? We go from this mess of a fight to the T-Rex arms. Jesus Aguilar? This guy's got the smallest reach in the UFC. I'm pretty damn sure he's got the smallest reach. And you know what? The few fights back against what was that gift we had where he got the
Shannon
knockout?
Ross.
Shannon Ross.
That's the gift that gave us for like 3 fights at least. He was the gift that kept giving. For some reason, the UFC just kept sending this dude out there to get smashed and rolled. I don't know why.
Do we send Hunter Campbell a gift? Like, who do we, like, Mick Maynard? I mean, somebody like this guy, Shannon Ross.
I made a ton of money betting inside the distance early on Shannon Ross fight. So I love it. And Jesus Aguilar, he's kind of a one-trick pony in real MMA. When you give him like a real MMA fighter and not like a Shannon Ross, he's a submission guy. He jumps guillotine. It is strategic though. He does like set it up really well, and it's very good. Like some of these guys are just specialists in certain areas, and that's his specialist. And if you're, Gurule, you just have to know. I mean, they all know it coming in, but that just tells you how good this guy must be because everyone knows his plan. And the fact that he's still in the UFC can get these wins via guillotine when everyone knows that's what he's doing, that has to impress you a little bit. The one thing that with Aguilar that always, I never liked was his striking is just not good. You talked about his reach.
How can it be?
I mean,
I'm sorry, spoiler. We're both relatively short guys.
We're short.
Shocker.
Yeah.
The reach is not good. We need to close that reach, get in the clinch. But here's the thing. You nailed it. It's just not a lot of volume to be had. I don't love this fight. I typically love flyweight fights, but I'm looking at all of the prop markets. I'm just absorbing all of the data points that are out there. And it's got to be a Gurule by decision at distance. Like you said, that's the easiest path. If you start grappling, man, you're putting yourself in danger. Aguilar had been leveraged in the past. I'm pretty damn sure in a fight. I'll look at his history and try to pull which one he was leveraged. Was it Stuart Nickel? Probably Nickel was probably a 3-1 favorite in that or something.
Yeah.
So he's been a leverage point in other slates. I don't see it here. I just think he's durable enough to go the distance. Gurule survived 10 takedowns from Piccinini. Remember that Contender Series fight?
I do.
A lot of heart. The UFC, I don't remember if they signed him that night or not. I don't remember. But
who, Gurule or Piccinini?
Gurule. They definitely did. They
didn't sign Piccinini.
Another opportunity. They said you won the fight, Piccinini, but we'll give you another opportunity late in the season. I'm pretty sure Piccinini.
But you got to remember, like he was just straight wrestling for 15 minutes, just straight wrestling this dude, and Aguilar, that's not his. He's not like straight wrestler. You know what I mean? He's more of the grappler that needs to get to those situations. Honestly, wants you to make a mistake, right? Wants you to give him. You go for a single leg where you just give him that, neck where he can just jump it easily. Like he wants you to make the mistake, and then he kind of capitalizes on.
What do you think he scored for significant strikes against Piccinini, who was chain wrestling, took him down 10 times? What do you think he had for significant strikes, Gurule?
Thinking about the fight, I don't know what 40.
You would think 40, 105 significant strikes. Let's get those.
That's crazy.
Let's get those UFC stat guys to be the same ones on this particular fight because you could see Gurule get a ladder. I like ladders. I don't know about you, but I like taking those ladders on DraftKings for significant strikes. That's going to be something that I'll be doing because Aguilar is absorbing strikes left and right. He is. I mean, the problem is he's not absorbing as many as you would imagine because he's usually grappling. But I think the distance is going to be here where Gurule is going to just push his head, don't get down, put those hips down, don't get taken down. Even if he does get taken down, reverse him, get your ground and pound. Durability is there for Aguilar. I love the over 37.5. This is why we do the show sometimes. We talk through it, baby. Like I wasn't even thinking of this. But
you brought up the great point about Gurule. Like that number, I don't know if there's a finish and it's a quick finish. I think it would be some crazy, grappling, exchange where Aguilar probably caught him at some point. But if not, I mean, Gurule is going to piece him up on the feet. And I think that's where he wants to be, is on the feet. I don't think he wants to. I think he's, like you said, I think he's just going to shove the head down whenever they get close, push him away, and then get right back to strike. Be careful about, like, when he closes distance, not having to get into a grappling exchange, even though he can grapple. So it's not like he can't grapple either. But it's just like, that's Aguilar's only path, and he's got to know that. So kind of like the Piccinini thing, like, he knew Piccinini's only path was to wrestle fuck him for 3 rounds. Yeah. And he almost won a close fight, even though he did get
he won the fight. I'm sorry. He won the fight, even though there was no official winner. He more damage. Damage wins it's frustrating, right?
Damage only wins, Mike, in certain fights. And then in other fights, damage doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I swear to God, like, they just jump the criterias all the time.
You're saying OV. If your name ends in OV, it's a little different story, I think, is what you're getting at.
So here's something I just want to say real quick. That fight for Gurule is tough because he's not a bigger guy. He's not a super long guy. He's a little longer than Aguilar, but someone like Ode is going to give Gurule problems because of the range and length he can fight at. And Ode does have pop. He does have power. Like, he's not going to have to worry about that as much in this fight.
Oh, 100%. And I think I'm not mistaken, Ode cuts a shit ton of weight to get down there to flyweight. I'm going to guess that Gurule is somewhat of a natural flyweight, which means more speed, right? More fast in the pocket. I like this. The thing is, I used to have this market. We're looking right at it. Aguilar is over fantasy points. We used to be able to take the under. Where's the under? Where's the under, JSU?
The unders are only in some of them. They're not in all of those fantasy points.
Would you have taken that? On. I would have loved it. I think I would have liked that over Gurule strikes just a hair. But yes,
I like this number.
We're onto it. This whole market, it's a nice thing. I like it. Fantasy wise, I can't get here. I just think that there's more paths to it being a sloppy no scoring and distance striking, even at the flyweight, which is wild to say. None of these guys are going to be champion. There's not a lot to be had here. And you know what?
I will just say, I'm going to sprinkle Aguilar just for the guillotine chance, just for the small gilly chance. I'm going to have like 10% probably just for that chance, but nothing crazy. It's probably going to be, I don't know what he's coming in at, but it can't be that high, but I'll be right around maybe the field or just below.
Let me tell you too, if he jumps Gilly, what does it do? Gives more fantasy points for Gurule. We have multiple fighters that can jump Gilly, and then they're giving up that top position.
True.
Especially for DraftKings. Other sites don't allow you to get that top position. Other sites, listen, DraftKings is the best.
Right.
I just don't get it. Why they jump Gilly? Why would you do that? Such a low percent. I love when it's like second and third round.
It's like second nature though, but like it's like second nature for some of these guys. They can't help themselves. This dude, he can't help himself. He's won enough by it where he like trusts it so much. And sometimes, like you said, if you don't get it, it can put you in a really bad position, but they know that they know the risk. So that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Listen, we're at 50 minutes. We might have been through like 3 fights. We we could go all day on this, but I'll tell you, we're going to
the problem is you might be just as much of a talker as I am, and that's impressive because I thought I was the king of being the talker, and you might be one-upping me right now. I don't know what the word count is, but
maybe I'll hop on here. Maybe we need that balance. But like, how do we go from Jesus Aguilar, the Mexican legend Jesus Aguilar, to Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos? This one's easy, right? This is easy as hell to break down.
I think this is the easiest breakdown on the entire card.
Amanda Lemos, 59% takedown. I thought it would be 30%. I thought it would be 10% takedown defense. How the hell is she at 39?
It's not going to matter, though. Well, I think because everyone who fights her tries to take her down. So even like the low, like before, like, so I think they just know the game plan coming in with her. But then once they get her down, like once she gets down there with Suarez, Suarez is going to dominate her down there. And I don't think it's a situation where she's going to be able to stop Suarez from getting there. Like even if she stops one or two, like eventually Suarez is going to get her down. And then what happens when she gets her down? I think she controls the shit out of her, probably finds a sub. And I think this fight could finish in under 1.5, not under 2.5.
Well, two things. Tatiana showed a hell of a lot of heart last time. I was big on her anyways. This whole story about, beating cancer, getting in there, getting a ton of UFC fights, and just building her way up towards that title has been a great story. But let's revert back to that 130-point upside. I mean, this is potential here. I love it. It's a bounce back spot. The UFC knows what they're doing. They've got an athlete that is, she definitely should be in her prime still. I would love the unders on Lemos here. They're not going to offer you that. They don't want that heat. They don't want the smoke. This week, the line got smoked inside the distance. You nailed it. It could be an under 1.5. I believe it opened like plus 110, plus 125. Tatiana inside the distance. That was a gift wherever it opens. Those openers don't really exist, let's be honest. But that the number was fictitiously out there. Minus 140 offshore at the moment. DraftKings minus 110, I believe. That minus 110 is not a bad number inside the distance. I think she rolls. Submission versus getting her on top and just letting elbows go. It could just be a mercy stoppage. I'd flip a coin, so I'd be a little bit worried. Probably leaning towards that submission, obviously. Cash play 101. I mean, when I look at a cash game, she was my first click. And it's because you get that 3 rounds of pure takedown domination. There's an out to volume striking. I don't think she keeps it on the feet. I don't have faith in the main event. We'll talk about that later of when it comes to cash games. But Tatiana Suarez, 9,400. If there was pricing scaled to, with grappling and stuff, she'd be what, 10-5, 11?
Yes. Yeah. And DraftKings already heavily leans towards wrestling and grapplers just with their scoring. So she kind of just fits all around. But I mean, I don't know. The one thing I'm looking at right now is, even though I think it could be quick, the control time, I mean, in 4 of the last 5 fights, she's had over 6 minutes of control time in 4 of the last 5 fights. And the line on pick 6 right now, where is it? 3.5 minutes. So if you don't think this fight finishes very quickly, that over's got to feel pretty easy at 3.5 right there, because she's going to get control time. The only way I think she gets under this, Mike, is if she finishes her in the first round and she only gets like 2 minutes or something like that.
And the problem too, what if she just gets 1 takedown per round? That's a little bit of the issue too. I mean, it's not a huge issue, right?
Well,
because,
but even if you got 1 takedown, she could get 330 control time off of just 1 takedown. So if that would be okay. It's more like if she finishes her super quick, we might just get under the control time. But if you think this goes to the second or the third round, I think you got to like the more. I mean, I don't know about you. You like the more?
I like it because I just think it does go towards a decision more than a finish. You want her to shine. If she does really, really want to shine on this, because I think this is the featured, prelim or something. I mean, it's got to be pretty high profile of whatever time slot it's in. My problem
kind of makes sense where the fight is, right? I don't know if it is, but it kind of makes
Amanda
sense.
is getting close to that magic number, 40. Do you have that in your brain too? Whenever a fighter hits 40,
she's
all
38.
bets are off.
Yeah,
all
she's 38.
But surprisingly, Tatiana's almost 35. I mean, she's 34 in 8 months. So yes, I like the control time. It's directly correlated with fantasy. I mean, first click for me in DFS when it comes to safety.
Yeah, she's one of my highest 9K fighters on the card. I got 3 that I have like as my favorite, my top tier, and she's definitely one of the 3 just because of her upside in the wrestling and grappling. Let's move it though. I feel like that was an easy breakdown. We
I
got to have a
tried.
few easy
I
breakdowns in
tried.
this.
I was like, let's
this
just
card.
get through
By
it.
the way, Vic T said this. He goes, I was literally just thinking the first time I've ever seen someone talk more than Johnny on a show. Literally, one, I was not expecting this, but two, I don't think I've ever seen it. Like, I don't think I've ever seen it in another show, let alone a show I've been on, but in another show. I thought I was the industry biggest talker. And then Mike comes in here and he's going to double me up on words once we get to the end of this card. And it might be like 1 o'clock by the time we finish this card. We're only like 6 fights in. So,
oh, there's some easy fights coming up. I mean,
that's true.
We have a Claudio Puelles versus Joaquim Silva. This is simple to me. Old man strength.
Another easy breakdown.
Oh, easy break. It's not easy. Let's be honest, but I'm trying to help us here, dude. I'm trying to help us.
Do you love these just one-dimensional style, grapplers pretty much? Because that's what Claudio is, right? Like, let's not, he is a supremely talented grappler who struggles sometimes to get it there, but if he can get it there, he's got massive edges against a lot of fighters, even very high-level fighters, because of how good he is. But man, the skill level on the feet is normally the opposite for him on the ground.
Oh, it's bad. And you know what? Neto BJJ is literally a BJJ ace. I literally do worry when it does hit the mat. This dude looks amazing. How is this dude aging like fine wine? Did you see the weigh-ins? Neto BJJ, Joaquim Silva looks like 20-year-old Neto BJJ.
Looks great.
I mean,
he looks great.
He packs a punch. There's really, I unfortunately am looking at this as a striker versus grappler, and it's not. You and I both know that Joaquim Silva is more of the grappling. It's always been in his back pocket, but he's a power striker. So don't look to Joaquim Silva to get you a crap ton of volume in this fight. Look for Puelles to push that wrestling, push the pace, break him down the stretch. But like, tell me I'm crazy, but what about a Silva like second, third round knockout? That is a somewhat likely outcome.
He knocked down Drakkar Klose. He had Drakkar Klose on skates and dropped. I mean,
what about
the
Armin?
problem? Yeah, that's true too. I forgot about that. The problem with him though is the volume. He's looking for that big shot. So you're gonna watch the fight. And it's going to tilt you if he doesn't find it, because you're going to sit there and you're going to be looking at your TV and you're going to be yelling, throw a fucking strike. Like but the one other thing too, you got to remember is he's going to be careful when he gets into the grappling exchanges, because even though he does have grappling, he knows that that's where Puelles wants to get to, is the grappling. So that's the thing, is when they get into the pocket, Mike, I think he's going to be very careful about how many combinations he throws, and it's going to be more one big shot or 1-2, and then he's out.
Yes, that's the problem for fantasy, is it's right there in the middle range. I talked about loving these fights, and I really do. I know we've been going on and on and on. Puelles has the ability to have more growth. Let's just tell it how it is. There's way more growth in his development than Silva. Silva, we know what we're going to get at this stage, which is the slower pace striking, the heavy strikes. But we also see situations where fighters that are going in for the grappling just run right into the strikes and it's over. That's definitely on the table. Love this fight for fantasy upside. Over the last 24 hours, there's been a bit of movement offshore, bringing Puelles back to a minus 145, minus 155 where the opener was. That's a little bit surprising to me when I was looking at that. That shows that same type of idea, right? He should have the grappling. The striking could evolve. I think there's a world where he gets more significant strikes than Silva, and Silva lands the heavier shots, but the judges are like, this guy just threw 3 strikes to Silva's 1. Split decision prop? Question mark. I don't.
Split decision. This fight has split decision written all over it. I was just looking for those odds because I'm with you. First of all, the decision is minus 115. Just, you don't even have to pick the fighter. Fight to go to decision is minus 115. I think that's a decent bet. I think Silva has enough grappling to maybe stay alive if it does get down there. And if Puelles can stay away from the big shots, I feel like this fight has a good chance to go to the decision. Like you said, it's one of those fights though that can go, you know, 3-4 different ways, and I wouldn't be shocked. Like I wouldn't be shocked if Silva found the finish early, Puelles grapple, you know, fucked them and found a finish late, like, or it's just a decision. But the more I'm thinking about it, the better path is probably decision or split decision, because it does have split written all over it.
It
Silva
does.
throw a
Even
lot.
after we just said Puelles could get that submission early, or
Yeah.
Silva could get him knocked out. We're still
But it's
thinking
the low
towards that.
volume against the wrestler. And
Yeah.
sometimes they'll rate control and low volume, and some judges might give the control side or the grappling side, depending on too when they get that. Like if they get it, I feel like towards the end of the rounds, if you're like on top of someone, that it's just like in their mind fresh. So that's another thing. Like when stuff happens, you know, when they get knocked down or when they get on top of a fighter or something like that, can change these judges' kind of opinions. And when you're not throwing as many strikes, that doesn't help your case, even if you have the bigger moments in the striking. So that's why I think it's probably a split. I lean Silva though in the fight. Where would you lean?
So might have to make a little friendly wager here. Puelles, I think there's more growth, dude. I really think that there's ability for him to have more strikes. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage here. I do look at that because what happens is they start striking at distance, but the ownership is headed towards Puelles, just I think because he's the favorite, right? Like this is one of those fights that is really a 50-50.
They edge towards grapplers always. Yeah. Like they always lean towards grapplers, especially when the guy he's fighting is a low volume striker.
And let me tell you, one of these guys has to be a top 3 ownership on you. Has to be. There's no way. Maybe top 4 because there's a lot of plays on this slate.
We got a what's up from Medway Mask over here. Look at that. We got a Medway Mask guy over here.
I'm in South Shore, so you're Worcester. We're all over the
place. Loves Mike talking fights. He loves Mike. Christina talking about Mike. Looks like he's talking about UFC with a chub. Dude loves this. He definitely loves this. Actually, one of the first times I met Mike was at UFC back like 6-7 years ago. We both got tickets from DraftKings, and it was when it was in Boston. And it was like one of the first times I think we ever met was at that fight. I can't remember which card it was exactly, but it was one of the recent Boston cards. And I know Sugar was.
I was going to say that probably would have been it because the one before that was Weidman and Dominic Reyes, like 3-minute fight. And
I don't think it was that one, but I was telling you the story though. So it was the first time I ever brought my now wife to a UFC event. And I was telling her, I was like, yeah, there's blood. It's fine. We were sitting 4 rows back on the floor or 5 rows back on the floor. And I was like, yeah, you're going to see some blood, but like, you know, it's fighting. Like, it's okay. First fight of the night, dude comes in, arm bar, snaps the dude's arm. And we heard like the clean break. You could hear it. And my wife, I thought she was going to throw up like instantly. I saw her like head go down and her hands go over her face. I thought she was going to puke like all over herself. She was so disgusted. And I was like, I swear this doesn't happen all the time. I swear to God.
Honey, it's not a violent sport. I promise.
No, I didn't say that. I just said, I swear that we don't hear arms just snap like that constantly. It was the first fight we sat down to see. And it was the first fight she ever saw live. So it's always just something that sticks out in my mind. But I've been to UFC events since then. That's the last one she's been to, Mike. So I haven't been able to get her back.
You actually, I didn't even get to say it, but I was at the first MMA live final ever. And people don't even remember that this happened. UFC 205, New York City, Conor McGregor, double champ. Amazing. I think it was a 10-person live final. It was like something they did on a whim back in the day. But man, what an opportunity to go to see those fights in a suite. You know, I've been to a bunch of the live finals outside of UFC. And I mean, I have a passion for this. The reason why I love DFS and DraftKings is because of UFC. I remember it was Dennis Seaver versus Conor McGregor. That was the first card I ever played. That's where the passion comes from. And then I never looked back. I actually, fun fact, I stacked that fight by accident and still won the tournament back in the day with the old scoring. Listen, we're going to sit
You
here all
won
day.
with a stacked fight, you sicko.
Dude, it was the old scoring, okay? There was a
Oh.
reverse or something. I don't know. I'm trying to backtrack. But listen.
That's all right. Hey, you won, so I can be disgusted all I want, but you won, so I give you credit for that.
We have the GOAT.
You don't admit though that it was a mistake. That's when you go in there and go, no, I never stack fights, but I just knew that was the fight. You don't admit that.
I learned from my mistakes. Okay. We learn just like the next guy does not learn from his mistakes. Jose Medina, the GOAT, is back, baby. Why is this guy in the UFC against Dusco? What the hell?
You know why.
What is this fight?
You know why.
Of course, it's enhancement talent, but are you going to be surprised with my take here?
I'm definitely feeling like I'm going to be surprised, because if you say anything about Jose Medina winning this fight, I'm going to be surprised.
Dusco Ferrer, let's just say, is not very good. He's not good. He's very hittable. The UFC knows what they're doing. He's going to get taken down at least once.
I got a question for you.
I would put real USD money on Jose Medina, and it's terrifying. I don't want to do it. I'm crying thinking of it.
Do you know why they signed Jose Medina? Do you remember his first fight in the Contender Series?
The Russian or Kazaki dude
he took a beating, and they were like, "Dude, you're tough as hell."
Oh, I know. And he impregnated his leg. His leg gave birth the next day, I'm pretty sure. But
his leg was ridiculous. I don't know how he was standing. Well, listen, and he was smiling the whole time. It was disgusting. I was like, okay, this dude is sick. But they signed him because he could take a beating. So where's the edge? Where do you see the edges for Medina in this? If you see an edge, where's the edge? Because you got to see some edge if you like him a little bit.
I mean, I'm a little bit joking, but I'm a little bit serious. And the reason being, I don't think the durability is all there for Todorovic. And what does durability do? It opens up the possibility for fantasy upside. I told you there's two plays on this slate that I'm trying to get to just to make a very odd build. One of the two fighters that can win, I think, and it's not like a lot of moxie behind me thinking this, is Medina or Pereira. Those builds are going to be so unique. You can be unique just taking one of those fighters, taking a couple of the mid-range, maybe mid-range lower owned plays. You don't even have to get that crazy, and going straight to the top, because I'm telling you, how many times has he been knocked out? And I'm trying to count all these times. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 times Todorovic has been iced. When has he been iced? In the first round. What is a direct path for Jose Medina to win? First round knockout. The guy's not going to have shit once this fight gets past the first round. I do not think he wins the fight. I'm telling you straight up.
Can I just want to combat this though real quick. So some of these knockouts you're talking about right now, just going to throw some of these names out there. Cheaty. He's pretty good. He's fast as fuck. Duncan, honestly, he's gotten way better. He's tough as nails. So I could see someone like him giving him a problem anyways. Abdul Malik, that dude's a monster in the cage.
Future champion.
Absolute monster. And then the last fight was a decision loss, so I'm not counting that. But I'm just saying they're very different talent guys to Jose Medina. That's all I'm saying. 4 KOs, but very, very different in the talent.
The problem with breaking down MMA is because everybody wants that bold take, right? Everybody clip that beginning when Jose Medina wins in the first round. I want that clip going out on RPS.
I'll clip the shit out of you if he wins.
I'll walk it back. I have to walk it back, right? Because it's like fighting is one fight. When you're breaking down a fight, you want to look at 100 potential fights. What happens? There's more of a percentage that Jose Medina gets a first round finish than people think. He's going to get rolled. Dusco is going to be like a first click for many people. He's 9,300. I'm just trying to get different on this slate, okay? I think you can tell, right? And I said, if I'm trying to do a different build, that inherently makes me really different, either doing Medina or Pereira. I don't think Medina wins.
Well,
I've even said
Medina is one of those guys, like I talked about in the
Yeah.
beginning, where it's the range that people don't want to touch. So that's what you're kind of talking about. And so is that Coria range. We talked about it in that fight. It's the same range. Those are the fighters that no one wants to take in DFS. And like you said, like, is there a path? Yeah, I think Jose Medina's path, honestly, is like a decision where Dusco gasses out after a round and a
Hey,
half,
that's not going to happen.
he somehow wins just from being tough and Dusco gassing out. I that's the way I would see him winning. I think.
Philip V
If
in
he
chat
did.
says Medina first rounds plus 1600. What is that in implied probability? Like 2%? I mean, I don't have the calculator out, but it's got to be like, are you telling me they do this 100 times, just 2 times he gets a knockout in the first round? I mean, it's a direct path. But let's talk about the wrestling. Todorovic, best path, take this guy down, lay on him, impregnate his leg. Be careful.
Maybe get a sub. Maybe get a sub.
Sub? I like the sub call. What do we got to price on the sub?
You got to remember, too, when you have guys that are in the UFC because they're tough, right? This guy made it to the UFC because of toughness. They're tough to put away sometimes, right? I know he got put away last fight, but in general, I'm saying. So how do you get? I mean, like some people, you get a choke in, you just go to sleep if you're tough. You know what I mean? Like toughness can only take you so far when you snap a dude's arm or when you do, like, you know what I mean? So I think the submission is interesting at plus 400 because I could see a situation where Dusco hurts him, but he's not out, right? And then Dusco jumps on him and maybe gets a sub or something like that.
100%.
Not that he's
and it takes one wrong move.
Guy.
It takes one wrong move. What is he going to do? He's going to belly down. He's going to try to pop up. That's how you try to do it. And your neck is right there for the submission. Yeah, I just also think it's a weird range for Todorovic. I don't know about you when it comes to what this range is. This upper 9K range is a very bizarre range. Like, it's clear that people are going to go to Todorovic and Suarez, but like, I don't know if it gets spread out a little bit because Gene's right there and Gordon's. And
I think it does. Zachary Reese is going to be higher. I honestly, when I looked at this, I want to kind of be jamming Todorovic because I think his ownership is too low.
That's what I was alluding to. Somebody's going to be left out. And
yes.
I can't see Suarez being the one.
It's going to be Costa. That's who I think. He's the highest priced guy on the slate. Tatiana is just ahead of him with the grappling upside, I think. Anyways, let me see where we're at. Yeah, I think it's Costa that gets squeezed in the 9K range. So if you're looking at leverage in the 9K range alone, I think Dusco and Costa are the better stud leverage plays because I think they're going to come in lower than some of these other guys like Gene Silva, like Reese, like Suarez. Those are like the leverage pivots in the upper 9K range. Like, I mean, I guess Calvin Gastelum might be lower too, but like, I don't understand his ownership that I'm like, Saber has him at 25%. I don't know how he gets to 25%.
I mean, inside the distance lines to me should be dictating a lot of ownership. It's a direct path to scoring high. Todorovic is like only plus 150. It's been cracked a little bit down to like plus 135, but like it opened plus 160. So I imagine that's what's dictating the ownership a little bit away from him. But yes, I agree. I know I had to go for the clip. I had to do something. The first show I ever did on the other.
We get that. We don't worry. We're clipping you. Win, lose, or draw. We're clipping you right there. I love
it. The last time I did this, the first show, do you remember? It was Alexa Grasso. I was the only person on Alexa. I had her at 10% ownership.
I do remember that.
It was my best win of my life. But yes, it's not
that sub, right? That's that sub. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hell of a night. But regardless,
those are the calls though that make you different in DFS. That's the stuff where, and like I said too, you can get over on someone like him very easily because they're not going to be owners. Yeah, exactly.
so yeah, prop market, they won't even allow you under on the fight time. They know.
No, not the fight time. You got the significant strike under if you think it could be quick. right? First round finish, you're going to get under this number in a first round finish. I think that's the only thing I would do. I don't really like this
the fantasy
picks,
points are
but if I
iffy.
did, it would be this.
It's a very small. I like the over on the Dusco.
Fantasy.
I mean, but like,
I don't mind that.
What does a second round look like? What if he is in a little trouble on the first round, a second round finish, 70 points? I mean, it's
we could get a knockdown. We could get there in a second round. We could get there.
I wouldn't touch this. I think it's pretty sharp. I'm just saying if you're trying to scrape for something, that's that. So yeah, I had to get it in there. You know, I got to at least make you laugh a little because.
Well, now you got something that people can laugh at later. I like that. I'm going to be heavy on Dusco, so I will not be hoping that you're right with the Jose Medina
Both of these guys are not the best in the world. Dusco is not the best, but he's got the higher ceiling clearly. I mean, in the UFC, 100%. In the fight, you name it.
So let's go to the next two fights. I feel like are closer fights, but the Alexander Hernandez fight is the one that I'm interested in talking about first against Diego Ferreira here. Ferreira -112 favorite, just slight favorite, really a coin flippy fight against Hernandez -108. And you've got on DraftKings these price tags for these guys are the price tags that people look for. 8,400 for Hernandez, 7,800 for Ferreira. Our mid-tier price tags that people like to fit in their lineup. I think this fight goes to decision. I lean Ferreira just in a coin flippy fight. If you pin me down, make a pick, I'm leaning him. I think Hernandez could maybe slow down a little bit and he could pick up in the later rounds. But I do think this fight goes to decision, and I don't know how well it's going to score in a decision for DFS. I don't think it's going to score as well. The volume is
not going to be there for Alex. When you talk about, I wanted to group these two together, it's more so for price and trying to make the show go a little bit faster because they're not the same. You're going to see volume striking out of Lunar and Lee. So let's kind of bounce between the two just because they're, I want to get the show moving a little bit for you guys. Agree.
It's all right.
This fight looks a little rough. Hernandez and Ferreira down the stretch. All the money's coming in on Ferreira. If it's kickboxing, flip a coin. Whoever was the underdog, I'd probably be taking. But Hernandez is one of the most unpredictable fighters in the UFC. You have to know that going into it, right? Last fight out, big underdog, Chase Hooper. 10 seconds left, I saw like the line close. You know when you see the betting line close before you're watching the outcome, and I'm like, yes, Chase got him. Let's go. He did it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's on his back and he's just eating it. Just absolute fire.
To be fair, he was eating it before he actually got dropped. He was still eating it, but yeah.
But we wanted him to just get out of the first round, right? Totally different fight. Chase, we just needed him to cook him second, third round, blah, blah, blah. Hernandez is tough to get to from fantasy now with the reverse value, right? Like basically going to be closing an underdog or a pick 'em at 8,400. Like you said, people are going to first click a guy that has money line value in Ferreira. I just don't see upside as a whole in this whole entire matchup. It's just going to be volume. The volume is going to be there to get you to the promised land for fantasy. Prop markets are going to be accurate at reflecting the same type of situation. What's that control time for Hernandez? 2.5?
2.5, yeah.
Man, that's sharp. I wish it was like 60
I don't
seconds.
like that. This is definitely a spot. I don't like the pick six.
No,
I think this fight is way too coin flippy, and I think it's tough to call from. I don't like it for DFS though. Like I think Ferreira's the better maybe DFS play, but I'm not really gonna be crazy, I think, on this fight.
In chat, we have Alexander the GOAT. Hey, he's the GOAT when he shows up.
No, I mean,
sometimes he doesn't
he's
show
the
up.
GOAT the last two fights where he's had takedowns and where he's had a knockout. Like, that's when he's the GOAT. He's
got a 40-year-old Diego Ferrer who's a generalist. I don't mean that in any disrespect, but he's a 500 fighter basically in the UFC. He's got the ability to go for takedowns. I think that's a potential path. I mean, old man strength, just 40-year-old Ferrer cooks Hernandez down the stretch, maybe. Overs here.
He has also fought the better competition recently, I think, personally. But
yeah,
That's just me anyways. Like, I think that, some of these guys, like some of the wins he's had, although Chase Hooper is a really good win. So I guess
Hooper
that
would
could throw it in there.
destroy Ferreira. Sorry to say
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I think it would just be a bad matchup though for someone like Diego Ferreira. This is a different matchup though. I
Yeah.
don't think there's going to be like a very one-sided. Like, do you see a one-sided here? I don't see one-sided.
No. The line is accurate at the pick 'em, flip a coin.
Yeah.
But it's more than anything, it's overs on significant strikes if you want to really get action or if it's time of fight. So I tried to group the other fight in there with the Lee and Luna. This is one of your wild card fights on the slate. It has to be.
And the line is going towards Luna big time, I think.
I was hoping it would go towards Lee because I wanted the little volume striker Mexican.
Up to minus 155 right now, I think.
Yep.
For Luna.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be the guy that the UFC wants to get behind. I mean, you had a lot of cheering for him at the weigh-ins as well. Lee, I don't know what to call him. He's evolving as a grappler. That's what's very interesting here, because is it as simple as if Lee can't get those takedowns, Luna just absolutely 100-piece combo on the feet and lights him up? Like, there's a world where that happens. Variance, again, really high on this fight. I love this one. For the context of the slate, like I said, if you're building middle range, you're going to be looking towards a fight like this. Lee, I was hoping would be leverage. It looks like he's going to be by lock here, JSU. I mean, they have the same inside the distance line. I talked about one of my premises of taking underdogs with higher inside the distance line or better inside the distance lines than the underdog. They're both the same. They just slap the same price tag on them. And I think it's because if Lee gets to the mat, there's a world where he gets a submission. There's a legit way.
Well, both guys have grappling too, I will say. Like, both guys are pretty decent in the grappling. I do think Lee has the advantage just in my head. So I agree with that take. And he did change up his style in the last fight from when he fought Zhao Long and lost that fight. It was a lot of standing and striking, and he lost that fight. And then he said, I got to change this up. He went in with a different game plan. He's more relentless with the wrestling and grappling. It was very smart. And I would assume he comes into this fight with the exact same style. And if Luna can't handle that pressure and style, which when I watch him fight, I feel like he's so much better when he's moving forward. When you can get Luna moving backwards and put him on the back foot, though, I think he struggles. So if Quang Lee comes in with that pressure and really just relentless, I think that's where he would have the edge. But I see this more of a closer fight than where the line is starting to move towards Luna. I think this should be a similar line to the Hernandez line, like a coin flippy,
middle range.
Yeah, middle range.
Winner could score 110 with a ceiling. The floor is not pretty when it does, but obviously Hernandez and Ferrer are totally different. That's a real low floor. This one should have.
I think you jam this fight.
Yeah.
I think this is a fight you can go both sides for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm not somebody that I like sticking my flag in. I don't mind embracing the variance because, listen, at the end of the day, it's an entertainment product.
Well, I'm the same way, but there are certain fights where you just got to be like, okay, in a win, these guys could both score really good. And the price tags, like if they both score really good in a win and they're this cheap, you're going to need one of them. That's at least how I view it. So there's certain ones you just got to throw the aggressive style aside and be like, give me both. Give me some of both.
How do you factor in money movement into your decision making, and specifically the week of? For instance, look at this Luna inside the distance line, open 270. Over the last 24 hours, he's pretty much moved from plus 200 to plus 175 inside the distance offshore. And I look towards those books offshore because they're probably getting a heavy amount of money to move that line. I think that's representative of who knows if somebody's sick, who knows if Luna went up and said, hey, I'm gonna go for the knockout. I'm not looking to just go to a decision. That indicates and backs up your point that there should be a fight that you go over on the field. And
Luna's style is pretty aggressive in general. So it kind of makes sense to me that the line would start to move in that direction, honestly. And I do factor it in. And that's one of the reasons why coming into this week, I was expecting to be very heavy on Lee and light on Luna. Then I watch the tape, I look at the line movement, and that's where I kind of will change based on what I see, what's going on. And when I see line movement like that, like you said, on the inside of the distance number, that's where I'm like, okay,
yeah, something.
I can't just, something's here that I'm not maybe 100% seeing, but I can't just throw this dude away. He definitely has upside at 8,300. Like, well, he could score big at 8,300.
We're staring right here on the screen at the pick 6. Luna over significant strikes. And let me tell you why I'm going to be landing on that one. Strikes landed per minute for Lee, 2.7. He's absorbing 4.5 significant strikes per minute.
Yeah.
It seems like he just doesn't throw enough volume out there to win a fight. So he's probably going to have to rely on the grappling to win the fight. But like, even if he's not getting those takedowns, he's getting lit up as he's coming in. Thoughts on that? I mean, also he's absorbed in 3 fights in the UFC so far, 87 significant strikes, 59 strikes from Chris Gutierrez. Holy shit, was that 58 of them being leg kicks?
Yeah, they were probably. I'm pretty sure they were. And Chris Gutierrez does the same thing to everyone, and people still can't figure out, like, you can't fight at kicking range with him. Like, just, you can't. I know he has good movement,
all the way
but
out.
Yeah, you're either in or out. And also, though, I don't know if you want to take the Lee numbers with a grain of salt because of the style change in the last fight, which was different from the fights before. So I don't know how much you want to take into that. But I agree with you on the feet. The striking differential is a big thing, and he definitely struggles defensively. I think that's why whoever got into his ear, or he just decided, I need to go harder wrestling and grappling and get that more into an area where I have a significant advantage over a lot of these people. So I don't mind the more. The only way it doesn't get there is if he's just on his back a lot in this fight. That'd be the only way.
A quick
finish. Yeah.
But I also think there would be volume striking that would lead from the finish because of Luna, whether it be volume striking, ground and pound, body shots that lead him to fall down. You know, Lee's against the cage, holding his head in, and he's just getting teed up. I mean, we've seen 100 times with those KOs when they're trying to go for the takedown.
Those little like short punches that they're just giving them, and they let them do like 25 before they stop the fight. So
well, I'll tell you.
I like that, though. I don't mind the significant strikes over. I like the Lee over control time, too. I think those are the two ones. Yeah. You want to put them more in there for now?
Is on the control time. It's up to you on the Luna significant. I can see.
Let's put the Luna significant over. Let's put that in for now.
Yep.
And then we'll go back to it.
I'll tell you what this fight is from last year's UFC Noche. Totally different weight classes, and it's totally silly to even put this out there. But what was the one with the two lengthy guys, Bahamondes and
oh my God, I got starched.
It was a banger.
I got starched, man.
It was absolute banger. Manuel
Torres. Yeah, I love Torres too, and I got absolutely owned. I still remember that.
But it's like, this is the Mexican guy they're trying to put over. Lee could catch him coming in. Lee could catch him getting on the mat and getting into top position. But it's a little silly to say that, you know. But it's the way that I look at it, right? Like, it could be the one that we have a lot of hype on. There's a prospect. There's also nobody really knows who the hell Santiago Luna is.
No, I guess it's not like he's had a ton of fights. So, you know, and the fights he's had, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much you can take from it because, you know, I think Quang Lee's going to be for sure his toughest task, you know, here to date. So, you know, and Quang Lee's fought some pretty solid fighters. I mean, you know, I know we don't like Chris Gutierrez, but he's got a lot of fights under his belt. Like,
he was smart. So he fought that smart because Lee came in late notice. But we talked about going overweight on this particular fight. Let me segue to you to someone that is constantly overweight in Calvin Gastelum, aka
I like that segue.
Not Nazareth Haqparast, right? I mean, I look at these two and I always laugh. I'm like, it's Nazareth. No, but it's Calvin Gastelum. The Pillsbury Doughboy here as a big favorite. What the hell are we doing, dude? What are we doing having him scheduled for fights? They're like, it's our Mexican guy. It's our boy.
It's them just trying to fill it with a name. Not a big name, just a name, right? But he does, dude. He still has a name for some reason, and I hate watching him fight. But for some reason, he still has a name.
It's the Izzy fight. People want to
Yeah.
revert back to that Izzy fight. Say, hey, this was his heyday. That was an outlier. You look at performances and look at the outlier performances. That's the one glaring one where he just showed up. It was on point, almost won the title. And I mean, this guy just can't make weight. He's not a professional. This is a tough
5
fight.
pounds over.
This is a tough fight. He doesn't give a fuck. You think he gives a shit about the 30%? He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about the weight. He doesn't want to cut the weight. Stoltzfus came into this fight saying in the interviews leading up to it, 30%. I'll take it. Don't worry about it. Don't make weight. I don't care. I'll take your 30%. That makes me worry for Stoltzfus. Does Stoltzfus just need a paycheck? This dude came, I'm pretty sure, what was the fight where he got dropped against Joe Pfeiffer and broke his arm? Remember that on the Contender Series? That was not even in the UFC. It was like, but regardless, I worry about Stoltzfus' durability. Just, I don't think the guy is very durable. Calvin Gastelum, for all that we say shit talking about him, fuck, I want to play him. I want to play him.
God.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I want to play him, right? Because there's no ownership here. Stoltzfus has durability issues. There's a question mark on what this fight looks like over 3 rounds. I think
so. I got a question. How in the world is Stoltzfus make it 3 rounds against Ruzaboyev? He got beaten, but this dude is tough as. You got to put him out. Can Calvin Gastelum like actually put him out? Is the question. Like, yeah, he's got power, but like, is he gonna? Ruzaboyev's got the height, the reach, and just massive power, and he couldn't get him out of there somehow.
I mean, is there a world where Calvin Gastelum goes for a submission?
Well, yeah, because I think there's a world where Stoltzfus wrestles him.
Yeah, so I mean, if we're trying to break this thing down logically, Gastelum should have the boxing, right? He should have volume. He slows down deeper the fight goes. I worry about the reach advantage.
Stoltzfus doesn't, though, man. If you don't put Stoltzfus, see, this is why I kind of like Stoltzfus, though. If you don't put him out early and you are someone that slows down, he's gonna stay in your face, whether his face is just bloody all over. Like, it doesn't matter. If you start slowing down in that 2nd and 3rd round, even if you're beating him, he's going to have opportunities to hurt you, because unless you put him cold out, which he's been cold out, and that's why you're talking about the durability stuff. But if you don't do that to him and you start slowing down, he's going to get right in your face. And I don't think he's going to like that. When Calvin Gastelum's slowing down, he couldn't cut the weight, and Stoltzfus in the 2nd and 3rd round is bloody, but right in his face. He's not going to like that pressure.
He's an underrated UFC commodity. He's a fighter that you can throw in there against a Calvin Gastelum in his heyday, and he would at least give him a fight.
He would give him a fight, yeah.
And he's a guy you can throw in there against, like, the Abus Magomedovs making debuts, right? And he gets knocked out. Like, there's just there's just, this is a fighter that's going to be 500. I do not hate that take, right? Like, the ownership isn't going to be here on this fight. I do like the first click being Calvin Gastelum under fantasy points, even with me like talking him up, more so talking about win equity, right? You're going to have every strike he hits him, the fans are going to go crazy. It's their Mexican guy, right? There's a few narratives, especially with damage. Think about damage wise. Calvin, he doesn't wear a ton of damage. Stoltzfus is going to wear damage. Split decision type of, we talked about earlier, prop market.
Could be.
There's a lot of overs in this fight to be had.
Control time on either side, I could see hitting the over on. Like, I could see either of these guys getting their control.
I'm trying to look this up on the fly here. Fight to end by submission. If it's like plus 500 as a whole, I'm talking covering Calvin or Stoltzfus.
I'll tell you right now. On DraftKings, plus 700. Dude,
you have to hit that. You have to.
I'm hitting it. Yeah, I'm hitting it. Right now.
The thing is, anybody who gets top position can absolutely submit the other person in this fight.
Yes.
I think that number is extremely live. In both sides, you're covering both fighters at that number. Let's not get greedy. You and I, you talked about greed earlier. I'm not greedy. Plus 700 is fine enough. And I get coverage.
I'm not going to lie. I am greedy sometimes. I won't lie. But
Contender
this is
series.
the time.
I'm greedy.
Yeah. Contender series. I got rolled over this past weekend.
Big T, get us on the contender series. We'll try to concise 15-minute the show.
We'll try. There's 5 fights for a contender series. It would still go an hour and a half easily if we did a contender series fight. But
let me tell you the
going back to this one though.
Seeing.
Yeah, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing about 20% Gastelum and Stoltzfus at 10%. There's really
I don't think he gets there, to be honest with you.
A higher dollar single entry. Who the hell wants to play Stoltzfus? Nobody's going to want to click him. He's going to be lower.
Do it. I'm going to do it.
Yep. That's how I break it down when it comes to, if you're going large field versus that single field or higher dollar. That's really where the difference is between the two. Very fun. It's a fun fight when it actually is a fun fight. Silly to say.
I think it has a chance to be a fun fight because I feel like Stoltzfus just has that, like, he fights in a lot of fun fights. He makes them fun. So even if you got Gastelum, who's kind of the opposite plotter style, like, I think Stoltzfus is going to force the action. So like you said, maybe Gastelum is a better click in general just because of Stoltzfus' style. So I don't mind it. I like both these guys, but I'm going to be way heavier on Stoltzfus. I like taking shots on him in tournaments. I think he's got the boom bust that I want for a GPP. Like he can get me over 100 in a win. He can get there.
I mentioned something earlier. What about the plus 3.5? This dude easily can win the second or third round. Heads towards him. He could be a parlay piece. I don't know what it's juiced to. It's probably got to be juiced at plus
minus 120 right now.
That's a great price. It's a fantastic price to at least clip one round. And when he wins the round, even if you lose the bet and he loses inside the distance, know that there's value.
Let's go, Josh Lee. We're rolling, baby. We're rolling together. Stoltzfus. Jam the shit out of him. I can't wait. All right.
We talk about fun fights.
A boring fight, in my opinion. Boring. Rafa Garcia. Dude's old. He's over the hill. He's not even good at what he used to be good at. Like, he used to be like known as a dog and just like, I just don't see it anymore. And now he's got Jared Gordon, who I won't say he's anything special either, but I think he's better than Rafa. And I think if Rafa's not getting this thing to the ground, I think Jared Gordon's got him covered. And I think Jared Gordon can stop whatever Rafa kind of throws at him. So I'm on the Gordon side of this fight. I don't like Rafa. I get the cheap price tag, but I'm just out on the Rafa Garcia thing. I maybe have a little Gordon, but I don't love him either, to be honest with you. This is a fight I'm low on.
He'd have to be forced into a dogfight for it to happen. Jared Gordon has the best 62% takedown defense you'll ever see in the UFC. And it's silly to say that, but I'm backing your point. He is very good at stopping those takedowns. Hell, if Garcia gets a takedown on the first and then gasses out, that still stalls out scoring for Gordon. There's not a lot to be had here, but I am concerned because the field is going towards Rafa. I'm looking at the ownerships for Rafa. He's very touted on other places. 28% owned for Rafa. Why would you pay 28% for what's his money line at this stage? I mean, plus 200. There's plus 200 fighters I'd rather get behind. I'm not worried about durability. I think he survives. I think this is a lot of Gordon's fights tend to be split decision. I think this is a spot where it could be, because Rafa's going to get a lot of fan love. Every strike, they're going to be going for the Mexican guy. I struggled to get here for fantasy. I do like that the field's going towards Rafa. I got to be honest. You and I got a big old grin here because you're killing 30% of the field.
I think people are thinking they're getting Rafa of 4 or 5 fights ago, 6 fights ago, where he's getting 6, 7 takedowns and he's rolling people on the mat. And I just don't think, and I could be wrong, but I just don't think that style is going to play for him in this spot against Gordon, who I think could at least make him work and get him tired.
He's going to want to strike. Okay, this is a Mexican showcase card. He is high as hell up on the card. I think this is more of a UFC saying, here you go on a silver platter, Jared. You've been one of the best commodities we've had for a while in the UFC. You haven't had a spotlight. This is a big card for us. Here's a spot for you to look good. Unfortunately, you and I both know it's going to be by decision, but here you go, Jared Gordon.
Yep.
Here's a win for you. Garcia, I always look back to that Natan Levy fight. Dude, he looked like $1 million, 7 takedowns, reverses. If we had old scoring, it would have been a zillion reverses. Remember with the 3 points for reversing and positions. So, yeah, agree. Finally,
what do you think the line is to go to decision here in this fight? What do you think the line is on DK?
I've got it on this screen. It's got to be minus 200.
Yeah, it's over that. Minus 275 on DK right now. And honestly,
it's a good number. Good.
I kind of get it. I kind of get it. All right, 2 more fights left to break down.
Be careful, though. Some of these fights are going like fight to go to decision versus the over 2.5. Make sure you're being smart with your betting money and putting it on the right market. DK usually is accurate, 100% accurate with the market being better. But if you're talking about a 10-point difference, make sure you're getting that security of the over 2.5 versus the, because I'm looking at Jordan.
Over 2.5 is minus 330 on DraftKings. So,
yeah, it's accurate.
Yeah. 2 fights left on the card. If you guys could hit the like button on the video, almost 2 hours going here. 2 more fights left to break down. And then we got to finish out with our pick 6. So if you enjoy this content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get to it. One of my favorite, just all-around fighters, Rob Font. Love this guy. Minus 120 versus David Martinez. Plus 100 here for Martinez. Rob Font's a guy that I just keep backing against these young, up-and-coming guys that they keep throwing at him. And, man, like, he keeps doing it. You know what I mean? He just keeps winning. Yanez, Phillips, Matsumoto. He keeps winning. The fights he's losing, dude, look at who he's losing to. He's losing to Figueiredo and Sandhagen and fucking Aldo. And, like, these are top-tier guys that he's losing to. So unless you think, David Martinez is that type of hype, which is, I think a lot of people thought Gene was up there, like was heading up there as that type of hype. And Rob won that fight. It was close though, but I did think he won. Now it's kind of a similar type, but this is a different style. Martinez loves the kicks. He loves to be at kicking range, use his movement. Rob Font is going to try and get inside and use his boxing. But I think one thing he's going to have to do in this fight, I think he's going to have to clinch up or takedowns, try and stall the movement of David Martinez. Because if you just let this dude stay at kicking range and throw kicks and move, you're going to get frustrated. Someone like Rob Font will probably get frustrated. So I do think he's interesting for DFS. You don't see him score well very often, but like I said,
our bias is coming here. Our Boston guy.
It is biased.
One of the first times I've ever broke down a fight. I don't know if you remember this kid that's not far from us, but I had bias. Joey Proctor. It was not UFC level. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I'm like,
you're comparing Joey Proctor to Rob Font.
No,
don't make me smash my head through a wall.
What about Jack Congdon, that poor kid on Contender Series? The Boston, Massachusetts MMA scene is in shambles, and the only 2 shining stars is Calvin Kattar and Rob Font.
Font, don't even put Calvin Kattar in there anymore. He's not allowed. He's out. We threw him out. Only Rob Font.
He never was either. Let's be honest. He had like a 2-year off straight before he came into the UFC. Kattar. I want to get done with this card just as much as you do. Rob Font, though, really good performance last time. Only scored 74 points, dude. It's hard to get here. And I think because it's going to be such strategic kickboxing range, there's not going to be a lot to be had in this spot.
It's bad if that's.
But I got to be honest. I think there will be some love towards Dave Martinez. The money line's been coming towards a Mexican fighter. Highlight. Now, in their chat, K-Fal does say exactly what I was going to say. Raul Rosas was going against Rob Font in this spot and pulled out. Clearly, they wanted Raul to win. David Martinez was booked twice on this fight, Quan Lee and Carlos Vera. Imagine what it never should have gotten sanctioned in the first place. David Martinez would have murdered Carlos Vera. I think you might have legitimately seen him murder, and I'm dead serious. The Quan
No,
Lee,
David Martinez is good, man.
he's a killer.
Good.
He's a killer,
Yeah.
but he just doesn't have the volume for fantasy that you're going to like and need. The thing is,
That's because it's constant movement.
Yep.
It's one in move. It's one in, he's a very smart fighter. He wants to be in and out. He does not want to take damage, and he wants to just circle and he'll do that for 3 rounds. He'll do that for 5 rounds. So that's why I'm saying, like, I think Rob Font's going to have to do more clinching.
TriStar is great. TriStar has made him a better fighter. We've got to be honest. Rob Font is fighting smarter. He's being better. He's trying to win rounds, it seems like. Sometimes it's like, oh, come on, dude. Just push the pedal a little bit more at the end of the round. Sometimes he's content with just going, getting to the next round. And it's like, dude, you could have at least had like a 5-piece combo out there, win you the round on the optics. Dave Martinez, better inside the distance line than Rob Font, plus 380 on DraftKings. And DraftKings has the best price on the market. So if you think Rob Font wins inside the distance, don't hit this. Plus,
I don't know if he wins inside the distance.
No. But the best price on the market is DraftKings. This is, the best place to place your bets.
I mean, I think a sneaky thing would be a Rob Font takedown. You get that 1.7x. I think that's a sneaky prop right there because, like I said, I think he's going to shoot at some point.
TriStar, get smarter. It backs up that whole narrative, right? Fighting smarter. Earlier in a win around deep, 10-second clip, go for the takedown, go for the legs. I like that. That's a great call. This is just one of those fights, right? You just shake your head. You're like, if Martinez gets the knockout here, bravo. Like, we should tip of the cap, right?
Yeah.
Good for you. It's not going to happen.
You're right. It's not a good DFS fight, though. I agree. It's not. Rob Font, we got to respect him enough to be like, he can hang in there, right? Like,
yeah.
So I'm with you. And looking at my ownership right now, or at least what I have on these guys, I'm under 10% on this fight. So
yeah, and I just think you're forced towards David Martinez. It's unfortunate. I'll take David Martinez.
I'm biasing in betting Rob Font, though. I won't lie. I will just totally say it.
Don't even say it. You shouldn't even say it. We knew that was going to happen. But here's the thing. Let me put it into context. I'm much more faith in Martinez than Rafa. We talked about Rafa last fight. People are headed towards there. These are 2 of the same exact plays. I don't give a crap if I'm paying $600 or more in salary to get to Martinez. There's more win equity. There's a hell of a lot more upside with the knockout in the first round. Second round, I think you can get by with. Whereas Rafa, and a lot of people love both of them.
I'm with you. I don't like either of them, but Martinez would be my lean over Rafa. Let's get to the main event here. Diego Lopes, Gene Silva, 9,200. I think 7K for Lopes, 9,200 for Gene. This is a great fight. The way I look at this fight, though, is two things. Lopes, he won't do this, but he needs to go to a heavy grappling style where he has the actual edge. And I don't think he's going to do it because he has too much of a brawler mentality when things don't go his way early. And I think Gene is going to almost pull the brawler out of him. And he takes too many shots. He trusts his chin way too much. And obviously he's got a great chin. He takes shots. He's tough. But eventually it'll go. And against someone like Gene Silva, you got to be really careful when you're just taking shots like that. And I think Gene is going to eventually find the mark for Diego, unless Diego, like I said, goes to a heavy grappling game plan, which I don't think he'll do for whatever reason, even though his grappling is extremely high level. And he has to have a major edge in the grappling over Gene Silva. Like, that's how most people want to attack Gene Silva. Diego actually has it where he's super dangerous if he does that. I just don't see him doing it.
He creates so much distance and concern from fighters. This is a horrible, horrible take when it comes to, like, it's not Conor McGregor. But this dude is like the Brazilian Conor McGregor. He gets in your face. He starts barking. Like, who does that? Then he's like, I respect you. I respect. He's fucking hitting the hands
You
in the middle
nailed
of
the
the fight.
bark and the respect at
Like
the same time.
it's fucking crazy, dude. But you know what? Aura is a thing now, right? That's what the kids say. I mean, we got to play to the kids. This dude has it. Problem is, fighting nerds, they have this weird thing going on there. They're on a little bit of a streak. This is the guy to break the streak. You nailed it. Lopes, his chin's there to get hit. The range of outcomes is concerning. I think there's a world where you can fade the main event very comfortably and build a lineup that you don't need the main event. But at the same time, how do you look away from like Gene Silva first or second round knockout at 9,200? This is a guy I think as well. When you look at the range of outcomes, 5 rounds, this is a dude that can get 3 or 4 knockdowns over a fight. And Lopes is the type of guy to spring right back up and continue. So it's a very weird dynamic of slate, main event, all of the context coming together. You look at leverage like me, I'm sure you look at it and you're like, I want to get to Lopes. I want to click his button. 30% ownership. It's just, I really can't get there. Prop market, we're looking at pick 6.
I'm with you too. I can't get there either on the prop. And I do think I can see a path where you could fade the main event. And maybe just the 9K range somehow outdoes Gene Silva. Like Gene Silva wins and it's a clean earlier knockout, but maybe somehow he doesn't get a knockdown and it's not in the bonus range and he scores like 105 or 100 and somehow you got 2 or 3 9K guys that score you 110 plus, or something like that.
Well,
that's definitely an outcome.
What's the problem here is this is one of the biggest cards when you look at like marquee cards of the year. Somebody's going to get into the ear of these two. If you shoot a takedown, if you don't fucking go for it, you're not getting your 50K bonus. You're not getting the new 100K bonus. It's just not in play for you two. You two go out there and have a pit bull fight. And when it's a pit bull fight, the more power is coming from Gene Silva.
I'm taking the better pit bull. The better pit bull is Gene Silva.
Yeah, it is.
Again, like I said, Diego is nasty, but he's gonna fight a style that is beneficial to Gene Silva. I don't think he's gonna fight the style that Gene Silva doesn't want to see. That's my problem with this entire fight. It's a great fight.
It's an unbelievable.
The UFC knows what they're getting with this fight.
Yeah. They know that it's going to be a great fight. So my one concern is when it gets to the judges' cards, like Lopes is going to have the fans behind him. He's the Mexican aspect of this fight. That's a little bit of a concern if it does go deep into the fight, that the fans are really behind him and kind of get him towards that finish line. Have we seen Silva deep into fights? I don't think we have, but I know the gas tank's going to be there. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, we've seen him go into obviously the second, third round, but fourth, fifth round, where are you at then? You know what I mean? I don't know if we've seen that, but
it doesn't matter. He's very strategic with that slow movement. It's not like he's fucking going for it. Like I
don't think Diego is going to throw a game plan out there that's going to get him tired, from defensively having to deal with takedowns or just constant like grappling exchanges or stuff like that. But it would be smart early if he did that to take some of the pop off of Gene Silva's shots,
Look at that market right there. The takedowns over 0.5 for Lopes is an interesting play from your vantage point. I'm not entirely on it because I do think he could get knocked out early. What is the monetary, what is a click? Is that minus 110 essentially? What is the equivalent of it? So is a bear pick minus 110 essentially?
I think so, pretty much, or one. Yeah, pretty sure. Let me see. Hold on. So
because we're
loaded already with all. We got picks in there, but
I don't even think you need to click something here. I was just curious on the prop market what each.
I do like the takedown line though. I do think I just don't know if he's gonna do it though.
Would you ladder it? Do it.
I don't think he's gonna do it because, like you said, the fans are gonna be behind him. He knows Gene wants to throw down. He might just give him that fight. He might just be like, all right, you're the boogeyman. Everyone's afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm just gonna walk forward and we'll see who finds the chin first or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's how this is going to play out, which lends to your early knockout more than the fight going later, I think.
So on DraftKings Sportsbook right now, we have under 0.5 takedowns for Lopes at minus 185. So that kind of stands at maybe just a standalone, taking a shot on a bet at it, right? You're getting that plus 140 instead of the minus 110. But
yeah,
you know, I love the Pick Six app more than anything. Like I said, I don't think we need a pick on this particular fight. Great main event, high level winner. Maybe not Lopez if he wins, gets a title shot, but Gene Silva's right there. Fun fact.
He might. You never know.
Fun
You never
fact.
know. Gene's hyped.
Okay, so I'm sure you've seen my futures bets on Twitter of RDR.
That's all I see is your futures bets.
Okay,
you have
okay.
futures bets for days, Mike. I like.
I'm here to give my insight on futures. Gene Silva next year is an interesting futures ticket. I'm not sure what the number is. I have him this year to be champion. So if he comes out and fucking knocks Lopes out, I have a 2025 ticket on him at 200 to 1 to be champion this year.
Oh wow, that's a crazy ticket.
Well,
what'd you put on that? $50, $100?
Oh, probably 100 each. I forget. It was a while, long way. But I think far ahead, right? Like around now, I start thinking of these futures, and I looked at Silva and said, "This is an A+ prospect. This is a guy who already had a win in the UFC." Plus 200 about a year ago. You could see the marketing machine get behind him, just like Khalil Roundtree last year, 200 to 1 or 150 to 1 to win the title. He somehow gets there against Alex Pereira, wins 2 rounds. I could have hedged out, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. That it happens, right? But back to my point, Gene Silva is the A side. I don't care what that Lopes is, the Mexican fighter here. They know what they're doing. He potentially can get Gene Silva to that point. Plus, if Silva gets knocked out in the first round, my ticket's live, dude. There's a way they slot that fight in November or December. Also,
December, dude.
I got to gas myself up. I had the RDR to be champion this year, plus 200. Plus 200 meaning plus 2,000, whatever. 200 to 1. You get it. Great bet. Don't give a shit that it lost.
It's a great bet. Even if he loses, it's still a great bet. It's amazing.
He's clearly not going to win it, right? But like you're looking at value, and he was right there in the title picture. He made the win before Hernandez did. Yeah, sorry, not.
I mean, I love those bets. I love it. I got to start doing stuff like that. Those are fun bets. I did have a question though here. Blue Collar Studio said, JSU, I know you see my comment. Don't leave me unread. Dog, give me a winner. 9,100 and under. I got Suarez, Luna, Reese. Come on, one time. All right. So you need.
He got your Luna pick. You would have said Luna.
Yeah. So wait. So is he saying, give me does he already have these?
That's how I read it.
And he needs one more pick.
He needs another pick.
He needs one more pick under 9,100. All right, let's look real quick. 9,100. He's already got Luna.
Unfortunately, the typical player that doesn't look into multiple layers of the context, he's going to say Donchenko, next click. That's like the next logical click.
Yeah. But he only's got, so those three, you get 7,800 for your salary left with the remaining. So he needs a cheaper, he needs a mid-tier or a dog here. We need to get a dog for our guy.
I also thought about, we need to get a dog for him. Sezinando or a piece of that. I mean, I'm assuming that
I think it's Sezinando or Stoltzfus for me. So I think those are the two dogs those are the two dogs I have the highest amount of on this slate.
Do you want to rip the Band-Aid off early for Blue Collar here? I mean, this thing, he's going to know where his lineups are right away with that first one.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people don't like I know some people, and it's always better. The first fight of the night, though, a lot of people don't want to be dead one fight in, so they'll just like fade the first fight. Like a lot of people just building a couple lineups, they might just fade it. So that's a reason to kind of go into that style. But just looking at my stuff, I have Stoltzfus a little more than I do Sezinando, but I think those are your two plays right there, Blue Collar. Oh, you got your dogs. I needed one guy 9,100 or less. Oh, he's already got his dog, he said.
He's got his pups. You want a wild pick? Elise Pereira, dude. I mean, what if she
That's
can
a
get
wild pick.
it's a
right
wild
there.
pick, but like it depends on what your risk tolerance is.
Well, that's true.
You and I both love this Puelles Silva card. It's clear you want a piece of that fight. That's the first point. But like, if you want to get wild, get money on the table.
I hate that range though. I'm looking at that
Yeah.
range right now. Like Gordon, Gastelum,
It's a
Donchenko.
terrible range. Get off of
It,
them. You don't need them.
it's a bad range.
Well, Gastelum leaves the guy $100. So
yeah, I mean Gastelum's a good pick. I'm just so high on Stoltzfus. I don't want to like give it on the show, but again, the way Stoltzfus fights, if you made me pick and you already have a dog, I think I lean him because I think Stoltzfus is going to force a finish in this fight. So like a finish one way or the other, which is good for DFS. So there you go. That's who I'd pick. You'd go Pereira though, right, Mike?
I would, and that's just strictly based on 15% ownership, unknown. Who knows? There could be a decision where she scores 100 points. There's a legitimate opportunity for her to really get different. Honestly, it'd probably be Puelles. If it was me, I don't give a shit about the $400. Give me Puelles, the grappler. Now, here's the thing. Let me break down just a quick. May I just hit the pressure points? You're looking at this entire slate. People are going to start with the main event. I don't think you need it. It's not a first click for me. I'm looking at a Tatiana Suarez as a first click. You look at the pressure points on the slate. You're looking at Reese. You're looking at that Puelles Silva fight. You're looking at, am I going to build a middle range lineup, or am I going to go with the crazy Buddha type of lineup where I'm going all the way down to a Carrera or Medina? Because then you can do whatever the hell you want to do. It's a 20 max. I'm not even sure where the contests are filling at the moment. I know that we have a 3 p.m. lock, which is great because we do have Canelo and Crawford later on tonight, which we do need. We need DFS for boxing. Another topic, RPS put a little pressure on them. Let's hear it from some of the higher ups. But final to kind of put
pick six. Pick six is up there for boxing. I think they got the gimme too on
Love
pick
it.
six as well.
That is a beautiful situation.
Pick six, they do have the boxing and the gimme bet as well. But I don't want to get off this because we got the pick six here. But here's our six that we got. Sezinando, control time over or more than a minute and a half. Zachary Reese, more than 22 and a half significant strikes. Gurule, more than 37 and a half significant strikes. Tatiana, more than 3.5 minutes of control time. Luna, more than 36 and a half significant strikes. And Calvin Gastelum, under 82 and a half fantasy points, is our pick six here. Let's throw 100 bones on that to win 1,500. Don't check me. Oh, they always check me. All right.
Yes, because you're going to New Hampshire. Remember when we had to go to New Hampshire all the time to play?
Oh my God, I don't even want to think. I don't want to think about that. And Big T would always just be like, "Just drive across." I don't want to drive. I'm sick of driving.
I get it.
Let's finish out with our favorite bet, Mike. So we do a favorite bet of the day, and then you can give like a long shot if you want. So you can do your favorite bet and then like a long shot if you have a long shot.
I think you and I identified the long shot of the submission in that Stoltzfus and Gastelum. I think that's kind of the most obvious for you and I, putting our, I guess we're smart, our smart brains together. The plus 700, that number isn't going to be there by lock, I don't think. I know we have fights in about an hour. I bet you that gets slammed. Bet of the card. That is a very interesting one.
It could be anything. It could be
Reese minus 135, minus 3.5 rounds. I mean, it's a silly
230 on DK. It's 230 on DK.
It's probably correlated with his win equity at that point. You might as well go with win. What's yours? Let me hear yours so I can just get there to the finish line and get us off here.
So I normally take a dog. So I'm going to take Stoltzfus plus 185 as my dog, but I also like the long shot with the 700 submission. So I'm going to take the dog shot. And then my other long shot is the Zachary Reese decision. Those are my 3 bets I'm playing with today. But
what was the one that we said? I'm drawing a blank here. Help me. Where we said by decision was a big number. It was plus 6.
Zachary Reese. That's what I said.
Boom, that's it. Well, that's why they're kind of correlated. Like
Take it.
That's the long shot. I'll give you 2 long shots because if one of them hits, we're making money, baby. Like I do like.
Thank you, Angela. By the way, great show by the Short Kings. Thank you very much.
Puelles money line is a great boost, and I just think the younger age, the more development. I do like the money line. It's freaking terrifying. I think he probably wins by decision because Silva has been durable. I don't think he catches him on the mat, but the money's following him. That money line helps parlays. Let's just put it that way.
I like it. All right,
terrifying.
There you go. If you want more of Mike's stuff, you can follow him over on Twitter, H3Buddha on Twitter. And who knows, maybe we'll get Mike on another show here soon. I think it's a high probability. That's what I'm going to say here one show in. I got to go talk to the boss, though. You know what I mean? I'm not the boss, Mike. The boss is the boss. I'm the next tier down. You know what I mean?
What do you think? 8-hour Contender Series every Monday night, you and I.
Do we just get on and just talk about? Dude, it would be sick if we could stream the fights. That, like, if we could like have the fights on in the background while we just talk about nonsense.
I'm down for live streams. Live betting is one of the best things in UFC because here's the situation.
It's the funnest part of UFC.
I also like live betting and buying back on the other side. You take a dog plus 650. He comes out hot. He's minus 125, and then you get plus 100 on the other side. Get me that hedge calculator out. I might get a little degan. I might not hedge it properly.
It's the best sport to hedge when you're on the right side. It's the worst sport, though, when you're like, oh, it just the wrong side ballooned to, minus 300. Now I can't do that. But yeah, it's the best sport by far. Live betting is the best with MMA. But all right, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this show. Like I said, smash the like button on your way out. Join us at runpuresports.com. Run Pure Premium Package if you want to get in all sports, one price, gets you SaberSim, best opto in the business. And if you just want single sport packages, we do have single sport packages as well, so you can check us out over on runpuresports.com. Mike, appreciate you coming on, talking the fights with me. Everyone watching, I appreciate you watching as well. And we'll see you next week. For Mike, I'm JSU. We're out of here. Peace.